Taxes in the USA, UK, and Canada. Who pays the most? Do I have to pay taxes? How can I get out of paying them? Or at least, how can I pay less? Have you ever found yourself thinking these things? Let's break it down in the simplest way possible. Imagine a giant piggy bank. The people living around this piggy bank periodically put a certain amount of their income into it. At the end of the day, the piggy bank is opened, and everyone's common needs are paid for from this fund. Unfortunately, it's not a voluntary system. You can't just say, "I'm not contributing this month." So, can you ask for a personal parking spot to be built in front of your house in exchange for your contribution? Of course not.
These payments are non-reciprocal, meaning they don't provide direct individual services. They are protected by law and collected to cover public expenses. It's a constitutional duty of citizenship. Now, let's get to the real question. Do you know how much tax you actually pay? When people think of taxes, the first thing that often comes to mind is the idea that the government is taking a share of their property. If you asked 5 people on the street, how much tax do you really pay, you'd likely get 5 different answers. But taxes are more than just a deduction from your paycheck. Taxes are directly linked to how a country functions, what it prioritizes, and the kind of environment its citizens live in.
And naturally, every country's tax system is different. So, among these 3 countries with high standards of living, which citizens pay the most in taxes? Americans, Brits, or Canadians? Spoiler alert, the answer isn't that simple. Before we start, let's clarify an important point. When we say paying the most taxes, what are we actually talking about? Just income tax? The total tax burden, including VAT, property tax, waste collection, etc., or the amount of your salary that's left after all is said and done. Looking at just one type of tax can be misleading. We have to consider all of them: federal, local, hidden, direct, and indirect. Let's get started. The first country we'll look at is the United States.
Federal income tax rates range from 10% to 37%. Compared to other countries, these rates are applied at relatively high income levels. As of 2025, married couples earning under approximately $89,450 pay only 12% or less. But that's just the federal tax. There's more to the story. State and local taxes. Depending on where you live, you might pay no state income tax, like in Texas, or up to 13%, like in California. Property taxes can also be quite high. Sales taxes vary by state, but generally hover between 6.5% and 10%. Payroll taxes, FICA. These are paid for Social Security and Medicare. 7.65% is deducted directly from your paycheck, and your employer contributes the same amount.
In short, while federal taxes might seem low, when you add in state and local taxes along with health insurance premiums, the tax burden in the US is nothing to sneeze at. Next up, the United Kingdom. For British citizens, it's a country of high taxes. Everyone has a tax-free portion of their annual income. As of 2025, this amount is £12,570. This means you don't pay income tax on earnings up to £12,570. Tax bands. After exceeding the tax-free allowance, your income is divided into bands, each taxed at a different rate. For the 2025/2026 tax year in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, Scotland has its own bands. The rates are: basic rate, 20% on earnings from $12,571 to $50,270. Higher rate, 40% on earnings from $50,271 to $125,140. Additional rate, 45% on earnings over $125,140. In addition to income tax, there's also the national insurance premium. This means an extra 10 to 13% deduction from your salary. In the UK, the VAT, value-added tax, is 20% and is already included in the price of most goods. While sales tax in the US is added at the register, here it's already on the price tag. This creates a hidden but high tax burden. Yes, the taxes are higher, but healthcare is free, at least at the point of use. That system is funded by these taxes, and many Brits find this trade-off worthwhile. And then there's Canada, which seems to sit somewhere between the US and the UK. But don't let the friendly neighbor image fool you. The tax burden here isn't light either.
Federal income tax, 15% on income up to CA 235,000. Like in the US, Canadian provinces can also levy their own income taxes, with rates ranging from 4% to over 13%. When federal and provincial taxes are combined, a high earner can pay close to 50% in total taxes. Sales taxes in Canada are known as GST, Goods and Services Tax, or HST, Harmonized Sales Tax, with rates from 5% to 15%. Like in the UK, these taxes are generally included in the sticker price. Similar to the UK, healthcare is mostly funded by taxes and is free. It may not be entirely free, but it's considerably more affordable than in the US. So, after all these calculations, who pays the most? If we look at the percentages, the UK likely has the highest total tax rate. Canada follows closely behind. While America seems to take less tax on paper, the extra out-of-pocket spending by citizens on private health insurance premiums effectively increases the tax rate. But here's the real question: what do you get in return? This is the proof of whether the premiums paid are truly reaching their intended purpose. Yes, Americans might have smaller deductions from their paychecks, but they can spend thousands of dollars a year on private health insurance. University tuition can reach $100,000. In the UK and Canada, these services are largely financed by taxes. So the issue isn't just how much tax do I pay, but also what do I get in return for it? Taxes reflect a country's values and its system of governance. With the taxes you pay, you're not just funding the government, you're shaping the society you live in. Whether that means free healthcare, crime-free cities, and a flawless education system, or the exact opposite. There's no single right answer to who pays the most taxes. It depends on your location, your income-to-expense ratio, your spending habits, and your health status. But what is certain is that understanding the tax system is crucial, not just for managing your personal budget, but also for voting intelligently, debating policies, and maybe even deciding whether to move to another country one day. The next time someone complains about taxes, ask them this: high compared to what? So, what country are you in, and what's your tax system like? Share with me in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.